All right, hold on, guys. I am just trying to get Facebook Live going. Give me a minute here. Okay. Okay, so I'll wait for a few people to get on Facebook or YouTube Live. See what happens, how this goes. Ah, man. Okay, so give it a minute and for you guys to just to show you what actually was going on. Anyways, hi guys, Kevin here from Freelance Computing, and just did a Apple iPhone repair that didn't really go very well. Long story short, she cracked her screen and she needed that replaced, and also the battery check was telling her that she needed her phone battery replaced on her iPhone too. So I told her, yeah, sure, that's not a problem, bring it over. Just this is how much the parts cost. So I sent her the parts on Amazon. I think it was $30 for the screen and $20 for the battery. And then $60 for labor. So she is about $110 already into the repair. Now, it's an iPhone 6S, so it's not one of the newer ones, one of the older ones. You could probably still get an iPhone 6S for maybe like around $180 to $200, give or take. But she wanted to get the phone repaired instead because, she wouldn't have to re-download all her stuff, reconfigure the entire phone, and yada, yada, yada. So... But apparently I found out that if I told her that I had iPhone 6S's for sale, which I do, she actually would have just bought one outright. And to be honest with you, I wish I said that first, because that would have saved me a whole lot of trouble with what I'm dealing with now. So, but anyways, let me show you guys what went on. So when I cracked open the phone, I'm gonna try to show you guys this on the cam. Let's see. I'll try to zoom in as much as I can. So if you get, this is gonna be kind of hard to see. You know what? Just go to my Instagram page and also my YouTube page. I'll show you. I already posted the pictures on my Freelance Computing page. So for you guys who haven't seen it, go to my Freelance Computing page and I'll show you what I mean. So. Well, we could agree. Oh God, I'll get back to her later. Yeah, I'm actually working with her now. But long story short, so I opened the phone up, and the first thing I noticed is when I was doing the battery replacement, the other person who replaced the battery, instead of using the proper adhesive and an actual like newish battery. The guy used this crap battery that you could tell it was an old battery that he probably scrapped from another phone. So that was one thing. And the second thing, instead of using the proper adhesive, he used packaging tape. Like he literally took packaging tape and rolled it to make it double-sided, stuck it on the back of the phone and put the battery right on it and closed it back up and said, okay, cool, it's all done. So that was the first thing that I noticed. The second thing I noticed was the home button. Now, with Apple, what they do is you can't replace the home button unless you use the original one, because what they do is that they pair the home button to the logic board so it could detect your Touch ID and everything like that. So when I cracked open the phone and I was replacing the screen, I always replaced the original home button onto the new screen so Touch ID and everything works. Only problem is when I looked at it, it had a slight tear in the ribbon. So I have no idea how the phone even still worked with the Touch ID. I don't know what he did. He probably squished it or something to get the cable connections to still work. because once you put the phone together, you can't tell everything that's inside the phone, what's wrong or whatever. So there was that issue too. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to tell her basically everything I did. So I replaced the battery, I replaced the screen, and I told her that her Touch ID unfortunately doesn't work anymore because I had to replace the home screen. And thankfully, she's really nice, and she wasn't causing a fit and anything like that. So that's why I'm working with her now. And basically telling her that the Touch ID is not working anymore because I replaced the home screen. And she was like, well, it was working before. And I showed her like there was a tear in the button. So she was like, okay, well, that kind of stinks. And then, during the conversation, I told her, I was like, well, if you or anyone else that that wants an iPhone, I do have a couple of iPhones. And then that's when she told me, like, oh, if I knew that, I would have just bought one from you. And I was like, oh, yeah, that I guess that could have worked. So basically, it's to a point now where we're trying to figure it out. The screen's still not working correctly. Obviously, the home button's not working. And I told her that, okay, listen. So I don't know what the previous guy did, but apparently he screwed up your phone pretty badly. And unfortunately, I have to take the hit for it. And that's the part that I'm ranting about that really sucks. It's when you have other people that, offer repairs and everything like that, but they do a half-assed job or they do a terrible fucking job. Oh, sorry. They do a terrible job. And then it comes to someone like me who has a reputation to uphold. But unfortunately, because of this, now I'm like, okay, now I'm stuck. Like, what do I do? Like, I could replace all the screens, but I don't know if that's going to be guaranteed. And I could keep replacing screens. But what good is that going to do? Her phone's still not going to work correctly. So I told her, you could go to Apple and see if they could repair. I know they could repair the home button to the phone. I don't know if they're going to charge her. I don't know how much it's going to cost or whatever. But I did suggest to her, like, you could go to the Apple store and they could repair it. They have the software to do it. And unfortunately, they're the only ones that have that software. And that drives me absolutely freaking bananas. So I suggested she could try doing that. Or if it gets to a point where, you just don't want to deal with it, then just come over. I'll give you one of my phones and I'll just swap out the phone and I'll just take the hit for it. So I'll basically take her phone. I mean, the screen should still be good and all the other parts in it too. So I'll just end up using it for spare parts or maybe just sell it at a discounted price and just let people know that the home button doesn't work anymore. Some people don't even use Touch ID for paranoia reasons or whatever. So I just wanted to, I guess, rant about it and just basically suggest to people that, just it's easier said than done. I know it's hard to find someone that you could trust, I guess, when it comes to the phone repair. And unfortunately, she didn't find out about this guy until it was already too late. Apparently, he got a bunch of bad reviews, and he actually went out of business because he was being so sketchy with everything else. And like I said, if you guys look at the pictures that I posted on my Freelance computing page on Facebook, like, you see the Scotch tape and you see the battery. It's complete. It's not even a new battery. It was garbage. And I don't know if he was doing that just to be sketchy and just taking people's money. I don't know what the case was, but it's people like that really piss me off, because for people like me who actually care about the customers that I work with and to uphold my responsibility as a repair person in IT and everything else, you come by these other people who just completely foobar everything else. And it's just really upsetting when you see a situation like that. And obviously I don't want to tell the customer, well, it's not my problem, because technically it is, because now I took on the responsibility of repairing her phone and I have to fix it, even if I have to replace her phone now. But, I told her that, I'll take the responsibility for it because that's how I run my practice. That's my practice. That's my responsibility, as a repair service person, and granted, it sucks that I'm gonna lose out because I could have sold that phone, but clearly I don't want to lose her as a client, and I don't want her to have the same messed up experience as she did with the guy who messed up her phone in the first place. So I mean, granted, if she ends up taking the replacement phone, so be it. You know what I mean? I mean, they're extra phones that I have that I was planning on selling anyways. And to be honest with you, I would rather give it to her because A, she wasn't mean about it. B, she's being very understandable. And she still thanked me for me being as professional as I am. And I'm still taking the responsibility for whatever that guy did, and actually looking out for her as a customer and as a client, so, and who knows, maybe down the road, she'll tell people, hey, I met this guy, Kevin, Freelance Computing. I told him about what happened with the phone previously with this other guy, and he couldn't fix it, but he still offered to take the responsibility for it, and he offered me a replacement phone. And I'm hoping she takes that and, tells other people about it, and everything will work well, and hopefully I'll get a good review. I did tell her, and that's the thing too, when I had the phone and I replaced the screen, I was testing it and everything was working fine minus the Touch ID. But apparently now everything is starting to not work with the phone anymore. And I was like, I don't want to deal with this. I'll just refund. I'll just give you a replacement phone either way. So, but anyways, so that's my rant. When it comes to crappy people who run the same business that I do, and they just do it in a very, 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 very bad way. And honest people, not just me, but other people too, which, they end up having to deal with the same thing. And it brings me back to working for Geek Squad at Best Buy and remembering the same type of customers that we had to deal with, that they would bring it to their brother's, uncle's, cousin's, sister's second wife, I don't know, whoever. And they like, oh, and they worked on my computer and completely screwed it up. So then I end up getting it, and I'm like, what the heck happened to this thing? So now it's my responsibility as a person and also working for Geek Squad that now I have to uphold our reputation that, hey, we can fix this, which we can, but at what sacrifice? You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's always ways of fixing things. And I'm not going to hold it against her with everything that she has gone through already when it comes to this. And anybody else that does not repairs, but, anyone who does a trade, I'm pretty sure that you guys go through the same thing. People who do HVAC, the only reason why I'm saying this is because, Tony, hi, I just saw you join in. You go do a job, and the guy who worked on it before completely messed everything up. So something that should have taken you maybe like 10, 15, 20 minutes, you have to redo the entire thing, and it'll take you hours. And another person, not just HVAC, but when you're doing like working on engines or cars, for example, same thing. They tried to do something and they messed it up, and now you're like, okay, well, great. But and the worst part about this is that you don't know 100% what the other person did. So you can only go by what the customer tells you, which is a 50-50. And you're like, oh, probably worse than that. It's more like maybe like a 70-30. So they tell you, okay, this is what they did. Now it's not working. Can you fix it? And you're like, okay, yeah, I could fix it. Yeah. You go through it, and then the deeper you dig into it, you're like, oh my goodness, like this, whoever worked on this thing really messed it up. So that's what that HVAC does that. Mechanics do that for cars, or like stoves and baking, like kitchen equipment, refrigerators. I don't know, anything that needs to be fixed. And that's the rough thing about what I do. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love what I do, and I still do it. I've been doing this for about 20 years now, for 2 decades. And granted, the good still outweighs the bad. But when it comes to the bad stuff, like the situation that I'm complaining about now, it really makes me think like, oh man, do I really want to keep doing this? But at the same time, I've worked with other customers, and they were great. I've never had any issues. I actually did a job in Worcester, which is at least an hour away from where I am, to get to that job. And, this college kid wanted me to upgrade his graphics card. Now, the coolest thing about it, I'm sorry, not Worcester, it was Shrewsbury, so nearby. So I get there, and, he already had his computer unplugged, prepped on the table, graphics card not even opened yet. And he's like, I left everything for you to do because, I'm not going to touch it because I don't want to interrupt anything. And I was like, wow, this guy's okay. So it's cool. So I ended up, talking to him, and I'm going through his system, and he has everything that he should have to do all this, to do this. So he had a program called Fraps, which measures your frames per second. He had all these benchmarking applications like 3D Mark and Cinebench. And I'm looking at this kid. I'm like, why did you hire me to do this? He's like, I know how to do everything on the software side, like how to make sure that everything is working well and how to benchmark and make sure that the hardware that I got is really stable. But I've never actually opened my computer. He actually paid someone to build a computer for him, and he was just upgrading his graphics card. He was like, I'm too afraid to touch it. And I don't blame him, because the graphics card that he had costed about $1,200. Now, the last thing you want to do is shock it or touch it the wrong way and then blow $1,200 right out the freaking window. So I understand his concern. So basically, the install only took me 20 minutes. But I ended up staying there for 2 hours just talking to the guy. And we were like testing out games and everything like that. I talked to him like what he was doing for school and everything like that. And he only had 1 year left and everything like this. But anyways, I digress. But it's clients like those, like that, like him, that this is why I love what I do. And this is why I continue doing it. And this is why I say the good outweighs the bad. But when it comes to the bad stuff, like I said earlier, when it comes to this, it sucks. And it really makes you think like, okay, so what do I do at this point? Do I just basically tell them to just screw off because it wasn't my fault? Or do I actually just take the hit and be like, you know what? I'm going to take care of this customer no matter what I have to do. And obviously, it's not going to break the bank. It's an extra phone that I have, and I have like 8 of them. So if anyone wants to buy an iPhone, let me know. So I'm willing, and it's also the fact that this customer has been really, really good. I mean, the worst thing I thought was that the moment I saw her text message, I was like, oh no, the phone is probably caught on fire, or the thing doesn't work anymore and the thing just blew up or something like that. So I was expecting the worst, because that's apparently what I do. But she's actually being very nice and being very patient with it. So you know what? I'll do the swap. I don't care. I'll take care of you because you're being nice about it. And you're not being a jerk, and you're not bashing me for trying to fix something that somebody else screwed up really, really badly. So that's mainly the reason why I'm willing to do this for her. So, but anyways, I digress. So, anyways, thanks guys for joining. If you enjoyed my rants, please go on my YouTube and subscribe and like this video and click the little notification bell to let you know what's going on. And also check out my freelance computing page on Facebook, where you could find basically photos and videos of the stuff that I fix and the stuff that I kind of fix, and the before and afters, like this phone that the guy used packaging tape excuse me, for the battery, which drives me absolutely batty when I saw that. But anyways, all right, so guys, I'm gonna end the video here. So once again, thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care. Bye.